Good morning. So, a couple of things. One, I am doing this as an appreciation jar entry, and I'm doing it as a video because I think my tone is going to be extremely important. Uh, I appreciate having had so many days off during a snowstorm because I had, prior to the snowstorm, altered one of my paddocks, offering some of my horses a much larger space than they were used to. But I only gave them a one way in, one way out kind of entrance way. And there are two gates that they could access as if to come in and out of those gates from that space. But I don't want them to be accustomed to using those gates because I have those gates blocked off with electric. So I needed them to understand that they have to return to the original gate they always knew and go back from wherever they are through the space that got them to where they are. Well, I appreciate that the first day that they were out there, one of my horses, Logan, believed himself to have been separated from Teddy and was running up and down the fence from the shed that was blocked off by a gate, the back of the shed that was blocked off by a gate, and then the gates that he just assumed were gates he could use, and ran back and forth. The reason he kept running back and forth was not only because he believed himself to be behind a fence trapped from his buddy, but also because he would have had to cross water, which became more and more water over the last couple days. So it went from just being like a couple dry spots you could get through to not a chance of having a dry spot whatsoever and moving water. I had to go rescue him at like 11 o'clock or something like that. I would not have been home had I not been home to do that for him. I appreciate the opportunity to ensure him that he was okay. I appreciate the snow for a lot of reasons because my horses' bodies are very clean and their feet clean, and they're kind of getting a nice freezing on their feet in case there's, any kind of critters growing, bacteria growing in their feet. The frozen ground certainly is aiding in potentially killing any infections or things that they might have in their feet. Not that they do, but it's always, I always think of that like, oh, good, their feet are getting kind of a freeze. I appreciate the snow on the ground on a day like today because I'm outside in the dark. I start my day very, very early. I'm outside in the dark, and I know what's out in the field with me. When I was in New York, there was always the potential to have coyotes in the fields with me. I had two fox, but the coyotes were more of a concern. The fox I actually had encountered like up close, and they never really bothered me. My bunny rabbit was out there with me on a regular basis, and that never, but I always, when there's snow on the ground, you kind of know that it's there. When it's dark in the grass, you don't know for sure. And I appreciate my deer kill, which is a sand and gravel bird, a ground bird. And if you get to where they're standing, they'll make a lot of noise, kind of like an alarm clock or some kind of, sensor that you crossed and they went off. So I always appreciate them on days when there's not snow to let me know that either I've moved into their space or that something else has moved into their space. And then I'm usually kind of aware of where they're at and why they just went nuts. I appreciate my inspired thought to post a video that came up in my memories yesterday. It was a video of me in an old jacket of my mother's, like an old rain jacket. I was wearing a baseball cap, which I never wear, big old muck boots over, baggy sweatpants. And I had a student of mine. I don't know if I just put my horses out or I was getting ready to collect my horses to bring them in, or we just went across the street to visit with them. I'm not sure what our reason for both of us being across the street visiting with those horses. But my student had thought it would be fun to do a video of that, what I did. And I stepped up on a well pump thing, you know, like it's just a pipe that comes out of the ground, maybe a 6-inch pipe that comes out of the ground. And I balanced on that, and my horse, you know, came over and back between me and the building so that I could get on him. And after he took me over to the fence and I got back off of him, then another horse wanted to be a part of it. And then another horse wanted to be a part of it. And the video went from like maybe 100 views to 1.7 before I went to bed last night. And I was just like, I never would have imagined, you know, any of my videos suddenly becoming popular, but to have that video in particular, just, you know, the description of my horse had mud. When he turned to the camera, he had mud caked onto his hair, and there was nothing about that video that said, look at what I can do. So I'm so amazed at the response to that, and people were asking me, how do you do that? And could you, you know, break down the steps for us? And I hadn't read the rules yet. I read the rules like 20 minutes later, but I had told people, you know, hey, I was just posting that for fun. I wasn't looking to promote anything. I was just, you know, that was just for fun. I said, but, you know, I do have a YouTube channel that I teach, you know, that is there to help my students. Like, it's created so that my students have a place to go back and look at their lessons to see, because sometimes you don't feel like you're doing something, and then they'll watch their video and they'll be like, oh my God, I was doing that. So that's why I do those videos. And I created a YouTube channel so that they can access their videos. And a lot of my students have been gracious enough to allow me, I appreciate that, to allow me to have those as public videos. So I had videos that I could direct people to go see. Now, I didn't design that to be promotional or for outside teaching. So they're really a disorganized group of videos. I have one playlist that was specifically about what those people wanted to learn about, and I look back and there was 13 videos in that playlist. Well, every single horse I've ever touched has learned that particular command. So I'm like, I've worked with more than 13 horses in my life, so I'm like, oh my God, you know. So I wrote this long thing to tell people, like, hey, do me a favor, I'll send you the playlist. You know, I told people to private message me. I didn't want to do anything on that forum. And you know, so I told them kind of like what keyword to look for. But even then, like, sometimes I just dated the people's lessons so they knew, you know, what lesson to go back and look at. But I didn't, you know, give any description or title to. So I even told people, like, if you were lucky enough that I even had the, you know, wherewithal to write a title, if you see anything that says the word over, those are the videos you're looking for. And the response was just absolutely amazing. So one of the things I asked people was, hey, while you're looking at the videos, any that you think should be in my mounting block playlist, let me know. Send me a link to that one, and I'll make sure I add it to that playlist. But I have so many videos. And for me, too, is that I have a lot of private videos. I have students who didn't want to be public, who they still wanted to have their videos done, and they still have a video playlist, but it's a private video playlist. So I send them the link to it directly, and they're the only ones that can see it. Like, if you went onto my YouTube, you would not find that playlist. So it's hard for me. There's a lot of videos to go through in order to find, like, these specific ones. I have today off, too, so who knows? Maybe that's something I'll go do. I'm appreciative of something else. I started to write my book, and I'm doing it in a blog form right now, and then I'll publish from there. And I had somebody reach out and say, you know, thank you for how, something like, you know, thank you for wanting to share this story, and I would like to buy your book when you do it. I was like, wow, you know, like it evolved even into that. Like, that was a branch into somebody seeing that. And we had a conversation about that last night. I'm appreciative of, you know, usually you want to put your phone down and say, you know, enough of this for the night. Well, I got so involved in it, even one of my students. I'm appreciating my student willing to have me just text her back and forth last night with my, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God moments. And that's why I'm doing this as a video, because I want you to know that I am, like, my jaw is on the floor, okay? So I'm not being a braggart by any means. And I used to have another student who I used to do that with, where I'd be like, can you believe? Can you believe? And it was nice to have. I appreciate having friends that understand that if I call you up and tell you, even if it's repetitive as hell, how great something is that just happened to me, I am not doing that. Like, yeah, check me out. I'm doing it like, oh my God, can you believe this? Like if you were on a boat and a whale or a dolphin just jumped up over your boat or something, you know, that kind of, oh my God, can you believe that? That's what I want to share that with somebody. And I have a few friends, very few, that I can call or text and know that they know I'm not just going, yeah, I'm the shit, you know, because I don't think that way of myself. And anything that's great that happens, like last night, I'm all about it. Like it's just so awesome, and I'm so grateful to have friends that I can talk to about it and know that I'm not going to have to be careful that I'm sounding like I'm bragging, because I definitely not what I'm doing. I appreciate that when I finally stopped texting her and bothering her, I put my dogs outside. What I appreciate about that is my dog aggravated me to no end, because I had to do a fence alteration for those horses I spoke of earlier, because, again, one of them got trapped, not knowing how to get back, and it was time to come in. So I realized, even though it was dark, it's in my best interest, because I did think I was going to work today, it was in my best interest to let them get through the space behind the shed. I didn't want them to use that space, but last night, this horse, Logan, kind of challenged that gate, but it has electric across it, but it has electric down by his knees or just below his knees. So he would have been able to crash into it quite a bit with his chest before his knees realized that there was electric there. It wasn't designed to be their barrier. It was designed to be a deterrent, not a barrier. So if he had popped that gate somehow, he would have gotten caught up in that electric potentially. So I was like, okay, I don't want that situation. So I decided in the dark, I'm going to go down with my buggy and a flashlight and a drill, or a screwdriver with a drill, all my parts, and I'm lugging along. And this is way out into my field. Excuse me. I left my dogs outside thinking this was going to be like maybe a 15-minute fix or alteration. It's not a fix. Nothing broke. Just my design was broken, I guess. So I left my dogs out. Well, the buggy flashing a light to me where I was at the farthest end of my property. I had a flashlight that I was keeping in my jacket. So it was just, doing this. It was shining up in the sky. It was by no means helping me. And my dogs thought, stranger danger. So the barking that they did was so stranger danger barking, so it was loud and to, deter or chase off something. And for whatever reason, with the snow coverage, the sound is just carrying across the property, and I hear them like they're in the backseat of my car. And I am having a fit now because my dogs are barking like crazy, and even though I live in the country, I don't like being annoying to my neighbors, so I really, really don't want my dogs barking like that. Now you have my dogs barking, and now you have me becoming more and more frustrated with the ribbon. I don't use the electric ribbon anymore, but I use the electric ribbon this time because it just was a little piece. So I used the electric ribbon, and I had brand new stuff, and I had never used it before, worked with it before. Well, it has a rubberized trim on it now, which is awesome because it keeps it from doing a lot of moving around. So it's really awesome. I think it's a great new design. However, it's very difficult to get it to feed through something when you're trying to tighten it. Maybe initially, because I don't remember it bothering me initially, but last night it would not budge. There's nothing about that simple thing that should have been that hard. It was so hard to the point to where you could hear me out there going, are you effing kidding me? So now I've got dogs barking. I'm having a little hissy fit. Now I'm mad that my dogs are barking because they're adding to my hissy fit. So now not only am I screaming about, well, not screaming, but, hollering about what's going on with me and just the ridiculousness of it. Like, are you kidding me? Like I was having such a meltdown. And now I'm yelling at the one dog whose voice is piercing me, Casey, and I'm yelling at her to stop barking. So I'm just yelling at her name. I'm just yelling her name so she knows it's me out there. So now my neighbors, if my dogs were bothering them, now I'm bothering them too. If my dogs weren't bothering them, I know they're hearing me. So what I'm appreciative about all that is when I got in, I checked my videos, or I checked my Facebook, and my Facebook blew up. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So that was, and then when I finally stopped talking to my friend, I let this beauty out, and apparently she likes the snow. So last night became a game at like 9:50. Okay, I'm only awake because I don't have to work today, and I knew that in advance. So I was having too much fun with my Facebook thing. So she's now making me mad because I'm still on the edge, like my energy's still attached to some of the negative stuff with the fence and all that. And now I'm outside, literally getting snow in my shoes, trucking around my yard, chasing this dog. And she's thinking this is the greatest thing in the world. But she's also barking because it's her breed. So she's barking, running from me, barking. I'm following her around. I'm doing laps around my house to the point where if I catch you, you're dead, kind of thing. Now, I would never harm my animals, but my thoughts are if I catch you, you're dead. I am so, so, so appreciative that 15 minutes of chasing this monster ended with me picking up my phone again. And for whatever reason, I clicked onto the video and I saw I had 1.7 views. I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, it was so worth picking up my phone again, seeing it was still blowing up because people from different countries are asking for my YouTube link. So my phone was blowing up from people in different time zones. Oh my God, I was in my absolute glory and so appreciative of everything that happened to me from about 5 o'clock last night on, even the things that frustrated me, because I can appreciate the shift in mood even more. This morning, or I appreciate also that I'm not working because that alteration in my new fence, the horses are out there right now. They don't know that now they have access to get in and out of that space. So I appreciate the opportunity to see the value of what I did last night, to see them utilize that space and be able to get now. There's no reason if they get trapped up over on the top of the water, they'll go through it to get there. That's just the thing. They'll go through it to get there. But they seem to think they're trapped to get back. So now there's no way they'll feel trapped. They have access, high ground access to get back to where they need to be. So this should never be an issue again. I want to see that. I want to see them use that today. It would make me happy to see them use that today. And it would make me appreciate even more that I chose to do that last night. And I appreciate being able to be here to see that. So this morning, I wrote an appreciation about that video and what's happening with that video. And when I looked at it again, it had, 2,000 views. I don't know what makes something viral. I'm sure not 2,000 views. But the fact that it went from maybe 100 views to 2,000 views, I'm going to bask in that fun. That's fun to me. So I wanted you to kind of hear my thrill as opposed to me trying to write it and not sound like I'm bragging, because I'm not trying to brag. But I wanted you to hear my thrill, and I want the roller coaster of my mood swings. And thank God that when I put my phone down last night, actually, I put my phone down and then I wrote more of my book. And what's cool about my book, I appreciate the fact that I actually already wrote my book. All I'm doing is I'm transferring it out of my handwriting to type. I am omitting some things that I don't think need to be shared. I was having a relationship falling apart because of what I was going through, and there were a lot of branches of rabbit holes that I went in through my frustration with that situation. So there was no reason for me to share that. So, I'm going through my journals and I'm flipping through like 3 or 4 pages of me going off about something about him. And then finally I'm back. So I appreciate that I can literally just, and transfer this information, and I'm reading it, and I have I appreciate my computer reads to me. So I'm having my computer read it back to me, and I'm like, wow, that's written in story form. Like, it's a journal. It's it's an account of what's happening right now, but I wrote it in like I'm telling a friend. I wrote it like I'm telling a story. I'm using, descriptions and adjectives that just kind of keep a flow of the story. And I'm like, wow, you know, I think this would make a good book, and it's a good story for people who might be in the situation that I was in. So anyway, I appreciate so many things in the last 12 hours that I had to share it, and I wanted to share it where you could hear my tone, so that way you knew I wasn't just standing here bragging about, can you believe it? Everybody loves me. It's not what I was wanting anybody to say or believe. Okay? Have a wonderful day, because I know I'm gonna.